All right, welcome to Unit 1 presentation on whatever question it was. The problem, financial planning. A financial planner invests $100,000 into three types of bonds, a short-term, an intermediate term, and a long-term. The short-term bond pays 4%, the intermediate bond pays 5%, and the long-term bond pays 6%. Simple interest per year. The planner wishes to realize a total annual income of 5.1% with equal amounts invested in the short and intermediate term bonds. How much should be invested in each type of bond? All right, strategy and concepts use. We have simple interest, systems of linear equations, variables, and the substitution method. So let's define the variables. We have X, which is the short-term investment. We have Y, which is the intermediate term investment. And we have Z, the long-term investment. And now we're going to build the equations. So the amount of X, Y, and Z is going to equal $100,000. The interest that's on each of these amounts is the 4% interest on X, the 5% interest on Y, and the 6% interest on Z, and that is going to total up to the $5,100 in interest that we're going to want. Why is the number 5,100? Because if our principal is 100,000 and he's aiming for a 5.1% interest rate, then the total amount of income at the end of the year that he wants to make is 5,100 because 5.1% of 100,000 is 5,100. All right, now let's first solve for y. We have 2x plus y equals 100,000. The reason why it is 2x plus y equals 100,000 is because going back to the problem, it says that it wants our short-term and our intermediate term bonds to equal the same amount of principal investment, meaning that since it's going to be the same amount, that whatever those two combined minus 100,000 is going to be what y is equal to. So for the first equation, we're doing 2x plus y is equal to 100,000, and we're going to separate the y from the rest of the equation. So we're going to take off the 2x and flip it onto the other side to the 100,000, leaving us with y is equal to 100,000 minus 2x. All right, now let's plug in the y equals 100,000 minus 2x into our second equation. That second equation is the equation that we made all the way back here, which is the interest equation, but the only thing you're going to notice is that we combined once again, since the two values of x and y are going to be combined, or they're going to equal the same. We're going to combine the interest rates to equal 9% x plus the 6%, which is the y, is going to equal 5,100, and we're going to plug in that y equals 100,000 minus 2x into that y that we see in the right here with the interest equation, and then we're going to distribute or proceed to solve out the equation that we have written out with the plug-in. So we're going to get that 6% times 100,000 is going to equal 6,000, and then that 6% of 2 is going to be 0.12x or 12% x or 0.12x. All right, now we're going to combine the like terms. We're going to take that 9% or that 0.09x, and we're going to take out that 0.12x. That's going to leave us with negative 0.03x. And that's going to leave us with the equation negative 0.03x plus 6,000 is equal to the 5,100. Next, we're going to take out that 6,000 because we're trying to isolate that x. So we subtract that 6,000 from both sides, leaving us with negative 900. So that leaves us with negative 0.03x is equal to negative 900. Solve it out by dividing that 3% out of the negative 3% out of the x, and that's going to leave us with x equaling 30,000. So we know that the x being 30,000, x being our short-term bond yield, and the intermediate being equal to that. So we both know the intermediate and the short-term are both $30,000 in principal investment. All right, now we're going to plug in x for the $30,000 back in that first equation that we made with the y equaling 100,000 minus 2x. So we plug in the 30,000, y equals 100,000 minus 2x, which leads us to 100,000 minus 60,000, which leads us y equaling 40,000. So in conclusion, for him to get his 5.1% interest, or that $5,100 that he wants to accrue in interest a year on this $100,000, the short term is going to have to be at 30,000, the intermediate term being at 30,000 as well, and the long term being at 40,000. This making it to where the short term and the intermediate term both being equal, the same amounts, and he's going to be reaching his 5.1%. Thank you.